They're rolling in. They're all waiting there. Hi, guys. Hi, Chuck. We see you. Snooper. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Janice. There's a lot of people. Hi, Haley. Hi, Helen. Hi, Janie. Jarrett's here. Hi, Jarrett. Jarrett! Girl, tomorrow I'm going to do the run, leap, hug, legs around you when I see you. She doesn't care, Mark. See that? She's happy about that.
Yeah.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jessica. You made it. Hi, Katie. Hi, Kimberly.
I always feel like we need like intro music or something when you're doing your welcome. We need like waiting room music.
Hi, Madison. Hi, Mark Anderson's in here.
Hey, Mark.
Pam Huck, Snoopy Doop's in here. Mama Snooper. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Sylvia. Tatiana, you made it. Tina, biggest fan in the house. Is Amanda in here? Let's see if they'll fight over me today. She is in here. Andrea Curtis is in here. We see you. I love this Snooper Doopers, don't you? Janice, every time. Jarrett, is Edie with you? Her toddlers say hi to me too, Janice.
Stretched and caffeinated.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Doing some of the same.
Yes.
You can't see because my background, but my dog also just came and is staring at Auntie Shauna because she keeps saying hi.
Dogs and kids, my superpowers. All right, look at that. The room's filling up. This is so exciting. So, Chris Campbell, would you like to speak? Hold on. Chris, you can talk now.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Chris.
Morning. Look forward to seeing you and Shauna in Dallas tomorrow.
Same.
Yes, Chris Campbell.
I got to hear Mark speak when I was down in North Carolina, so I'm excited to hear more about what he has to say.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi,
Hey.
Stephanie. We have all those peeps. Victoria Krippner's in the house. Did Melissa Mercado make it on here? Oh, now she in Dallas is going to get a complete cuddle because we are sharing a room. Melissa gets cuddles and late night snacks. Chris, I'm muting you. Yeah, Ryder. You.
There you go.
There we go. So, Chris, I can't find you fast enough. Ioni's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I heard snacks and I'm in. Do you want to share a room with me, Ioni, and cuddle and eat snacks? We'll be in Dallas. All right. Would I get the same in Orlando? Yes, Tatiana, baby girl. We're going to spoon. It's going to be great. Okay. Look at who we have on here today. Most everyone's in now. Everyone ready to roll? There's a lot of people in here, Mark. No pressure.
Excellent. I'm excited.
I know. It's a good one. I'm so excited to have Mark Viktoria from Viktoria Deanne on here. You guys know that there's special skincare lines and companies that I love in the industry, and this is one of them. I really had to talk Mark into doing this, you guys. He was nervous about a webinar with Hale Hush, and I said, it is going to work out. It's going to be a good time. So we created a protocol that uses both of our products, and I think hi, Mom, Pam. Janice is in here too. that uses both of our products that I think really enhances what we have as a sensitive skincare line, and then what Viktoria Deanne has as your peptide line. So we're super excited about that. We're going to have that protocol available for you in the Dropbox and on our website. Also, Viktoria Deanne has a copy. If that's who you want to get it from, they have that available also. Yeah, you guys, I met Mark years ago at a retreat. Imagine that, in Florida. This guy got on stage and started talking all this science, and I never even heard of the company before or met him or anything. Chuck was there too. We're at Maxine's event. Some of you in here were at that event also. And I'm like, wow, I have never heard someone talk this sciencey before, ever. And I was really taking notes, and then all of a sudden, my brain turned off, right? So he always there's taking a deep dive. And I use these products in different treatments. Now I use them obviously personally. I think you guys will really love them. And I always tell you guys that you want companies out there with integrity and education, and that's what you're getting from Viktoria Deanne. So you guys know I stand behind this. I'm going to let Mark introduce himself in a more professional way. But for me, he's like my favorite scientist, and he's really exciting to listen to. Jarrett's in here too, and she just wrote down that she learns so much from Mark and Charlotte. So anytime you guys have an opportunity to listen to Mark speak, I highly suggest it. Bring a big notepad though, and be ready to dive into all the scientific things. So Mark, thanks for coming today. We've joined both our clients together. It's exciting to see. I think we have a lot of crossover.
I think we do too, Shauna. I appreciate the introduction. I'm glad I'm your favorite scientist, and that hopefully I don't bore everyone today with that. But I think it's important to learn those aspects of the skin to see why you're using something. I'm president of Viktoria Deanne. I've been working in peptides 20 years now. And my father actually has been working in peptides for 40 years. So together we have 60 years of peptide experience. It's kind of interesting because peptides are really, I think, just going mainstream. I know we heard about them 10 or 15 years ago. We heard the general name of peptides, and I think they came back on strong. That's really because they are the natural medicine of the body and the skin. They communicate natural messages to cells, and that's why we really focus on them. Where I started 20 years ago was looking at growth hormone, release hormone mimickers. These are peptides that aren't actually growth hormone themselves, but they can actually target the hypothalamus and release growth hormone into the body. So that's kind of where we started our research, that and other cancer therapies utilizing peptides, and they can be used in a multitude of ways. There's medicines out now actually using some of that technology that we were looking at years ago. During this process, we discovered different peptides that target epithelial cells, and epithelial cells are the same cells that make up your skin. And during using the same premise that we used in growth hormone optimization, not necessarily replacing growth hormone in the body with an exogenous source or outside source, but getting your body to create it itself. We kind of use that same premise. A lot of people might think of that as holistic medicine, if you will. But honestly, I think it's the medicine of the future, because you are utilizing the same messages that your cells have seen for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. Whereas in Western medicine, over the past only 100 years, we started to introduce these molecules that cells have never, ever seen. So there is a lot of biofeedback off of molecules cells have never seen. And that's why you get a lot of adverse reactions, right? That's why you get the negative reactions. You have positive benefits, but negative benefits. So that's why we're trying to target that same language, that biomimetic, biosimilar messaging of the cells. And we use that premise in skincare, is trying to get results from these cells without damaging them. And that's what's key and core to who we are. The peptides, synthesizing, formulating, and stabilizing them into different serums and applying those to target different skin conditions.
Okay, I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions for Mr. Victoria here. So please remember, if you have real questions, please put them in the question and answer box. If you guys just want to chat on the side, chat on the side. Okay, we do that. And yes, I forgot, we will have giveaways at the end. Mr. Victoria is going to have a lot of little giveaways for you guys. He's going to spoil you today. So please stay till the end. And Morgan is now entering all your names into her crazy little spinner, as most of you know. Hi, Shirley. Thanks for making it. Hi, Deborah. Deborah is sharing with 57 of her students right now.
Awesome, Deborah.
So we have school on here too. How exciting. Okay. Sorry, Mark. I forgot to say that in the beginning. So we gotcha. You ready? You gonna share your screen?
Oh, yes, I will.
You guys ready? Better get your pens and paper out, you guys. It's gonna be a good one.
All right. Can you guys see the presentation?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. And then last question. Does this little laser pointer show right in the center right now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take it off. All right. So thank you everyone for joining this presentation and looking at different peptides, cleansers, moisturizers for rejuvenating, restoring sensitive skin. So I mentioned earlier that our core technology that we look at is peptides, and I really want to give an idea of the power of peptides and what they are. Peptides are utilized in the body in all sorts of ways, and really proteins and peptides are the key messengers of everything that happens within your body. And I'm going to use some different medical references just to show you how powerful these are. Obviously, we're not treating the body. We're looking at skin in this case, but I will make the switch over back and forth. And then I'm also going to use some medical references that you'll see in this. I'm going to tell you on the front end that, of course, we all know that we're not supposed to use these peptides on wounds or open wounds. I just want to make that clear on the forefront that we'll have different, we started in the medical area and translated over from plastic surgeons into basically the cosmeceutical. So I'm going to use these medical references. And one of these is insulin. So insulin is a peptide that controls all your blood sugar. I think we're very familiar with that. I didn't mention this earlier, but I'm going to mention it now. I think one of the sad things is peptides weren't really recognized as valuable as they are, I think, until Ozempic came out, right? Like all of a sudden we can lose a bunch of weight, and now we see peptides on TikTok and Facebook and everywhere else, and now we realize that they can help with growth hormone. And I don't know if you guys have seen this on social media, but these were some of the peptides, growth hormone, release hormone mimickers that we were researching 20 years ago, but they just are coming to the forefront now. So one of these examples I like to show is human insulin. We also have oxytocin. So we're all familiar with oxytocin, I believe. Oxytocin is to induce labor, right? It's the binding hormone as well within our body. And then one really powerful one is thyroid releasing hormone. So this is actually a peptide created by the hypothalamus, controls all the metabolism of your body. So you have blood sugar, you have all the metabolism within your body and thyroid release. It really is the key messenger. So I wanted to just share those. This isn't what we're doing when we're utilizing peptides on the skin, but I wanted to show you the power within the body. So one of our first clinical uses of one of our key products, which it's changed since then, and we actually have it in 3 different strengths, but I'll mention that later. I just want to give you this medical reference first. This is a child that lived in New York, a little girl named Chloe, and she had put her hand on a hot plate, a flat top stove, basically gave her 3rd-degree burns, burnt down to basically sub-Q tissue. And this picture was taken by a plastic surgeon that provided these before and afters to us. And he actually took these before and afters because the first hospital that the parents took this child to, the wound was debrided, basically cleaned up, And they had stated that they would possibly need to do skin grafts. And when you do skin grafts on the hand like this, you have some what's called webbing that occurs, basically scarring that occurs, and you'll lose function of the hand. And I mean, for a young little girl, I couldn't even imagine this. My little girl is still 13, even though, I mean, 13 now, but acts 16 or 17. But I couldn't imagine this when she was 5, 6 years old, going through the trauma of the hospital. So they signed her out to get a second opinion with the plastic surgeon. And the hospital actually said that they were going to report her for child neglect when this happened, which is part of the reason these photos even exist. And mind you, these pictures are taken back in the early 2000s, late 90s, basically. So you didn't have flip phones with cameras. I don't know if you guys remember this, how fast things have advanced. There was no iPhone. iPhone still hadn't been invented for another 7 years. So these were taken on an actual analog camera. They were laid on a Xerox machine, a color one that they had, and then sent to us. So this is the actual, 8.5 by 11 that they used as a before and after. So I forgive the resolution on these, but this was 20 years ago. So this is day 2. This is day 5 here, and it's 5 of 26. You can see in day 14 that the subcu tissue dermis is kind of reestablishing itself. And day 23, now you can see the epidermis starting to reestablish itself as well. So the final picture here is from day 5 to day 26. And there was a little bit, I'm going to go back. There's a little bit of loss of function right here in the pinky. It was about a 2% loss. So that was the only webbing that occurred in this example. This is kind of where we started. This is, the beginnings of Viktoria Deanne. And this was a great before and after that they sent over to us. So this is kind of a medical use. We're not classically, and we're not treating this regularly. So I just want to show you the power of peptides. This is the power of peptides in skincare. So what gets these results? The only way to achieve these results is you have to have the correct message, and that's basically a bioactive peptide. Our definition of bioactive is basically entering into the system without creating any negative results. You can achieve results on the skin, and we do this sometimes as a practitioner. We'll cause damage to get results, but the results are outweighing the damage that we cause, and that's fine. We're activating those stem cells. We're acting dermal stem cells. We're activating epidermal stem cells. What we try to do is research those specific peptides while repair is occurring that activate fibroblasts and activate dermal stem cells and then mimic those. So that's what our idea of bioactive is. To actually synthesize these peptides, you have to use USP grade ingredients. So those are a step above what you would classically see used in a cosmetic. They're ultra pure ingredients. They're pharmaceutical grade, basically. So we have to use pharmaceutical grade purity to get the proper peptide, and that's amino acids to form peptides. And we'll go over that. We'll go over what a peptide actually is here in a second. So I've never been able to give a talk without putting DNA on a slide. So I figured I'd throw it in here. As we know, DNA basically programs for everything within our body, right? Like the whole programming to everything we are, our eye color is programmed in that DNA. But what does DNA actually do? Like what's the point of this double helix that you see here? It's a cool image, but what is it actually programmed for? And I just want to show you real quick, DNA is stored in the nucleus, right? This is a cell. Has a bunch of organelles. There's mitochondria there. There's a Golgi body. There's all of these different organelles that provide processes within the cell and do certain things. For instance, mitochondria, as we know, produce ATP, right? Like the powerhouse of the cell, the battery of the cell. Well, the DNA is stored in the nucleus, okay? It's the blueprint for life. So you wouldn't hand, if you were building, say, a large building, the blueprint for the entire building, your only copy, out to everybody that's doing the work, the electricians, the framers. You wouldn't give that out. You'd keep it housed somewhere safe, right? And then you might make a copy and pass it out to these other areas and that information out to the people that are responsible for doing the work. And that's what we target with peptides, is the people that are responsible, the organelles and the processes that carry out the work in the cell, and that's how we get the results. But let me focus on this DNA because I'll go off on a tangent there. We're going to zoom in on that nucleus, right? This is that blue area inside of the cell. This is where the DNA is kept, okay? So we have DNA sitting there, right? It's usually double helix, but I'm splitting it apart because you have to do that to copy it. A lot of things here. This could be a entire class unto itself, how this process takes place, but we're going to break it down. So you have DNA sitting there, and DNA gets copied in a process known as transcription into RNA, okay? RNA is allowed to basically leave the nucleus, okay? Remember, that's that blue center core in the cell. Now we are in the cytoplasm where the organelles are of the cell, and now this RNA needs to be translated. When it's translated, every codon, which is 3 of these, and this is a lot of terminology you don't necessarily need to know. I'm going to get to the point here in a second. This codon basically codes for an amino acid. That's this one brick here. This next codon will code for the next amino acid, and so on and so forth until you form what's called a peptide and or protein, okay? So this DNA forms and does everything of your body. And what does it end up being translated to? A peptide or protein. And that's the core of what a peptide is. And that's why it codes for everything within your body. All the processes are instigated by this because DNA is transformed into these amino acids in a chain, which is called a peptide. So we actually give amino acids. Remember, amino acids, I'm going to go back, are these links, that these individual molecules here that are created that form peptides. We give an alphabetical designation to each peptide, okay? Just so happens that these alphabetical designations to each peptide, when arranged in a certain order, actually create a word, okay? And those words arranged in a specific order create a sentence. Well, cells don't have eyes, they don't have a mouth, they have chemical receptors that see these words arranged, and it tells them what to do. It tells them what's happening in their environment. It tells them if their damage occurred. It tells them if they're supposed to proliferate. It tells them everything that's supposed to happen. And we hear a lot about stem cells and exosomes as well. Well, the heart of what these stem cells and exosomes are doing is either A, the stem cell is dividing, creating another cell. That's great, but we can't put live stem cells in our products. What is harvested out of that is actually the peptide messenger. That's the key thing with stem cells and peptides, is the peptide messenger that you're getting out of them. So that's why those are so important. They're seeing progress in that area as well. So peptides convey these messages to cells. So there's a lot of different ways they can convey these messages. Peptides can target mitochondria, right? They can be a message to produce collagen. And don't take these DEPs as actual designators. Obviously, collagen is produced down towards the dermis, not the very surface of the skin. But basically, they convey these messages for collagen production, elastin production. They can even have epigenetic modulation to turn on certain genes, basically. They can act like there's damage taking place in the DNA and turn on a protective mechanism and modulate that DNA to produce more antioxidants, basically. They can even target bacteria in specific ways that are interesting, that are called antimicrobial peptides. So we won't be able to talk about all of these today. We're going to talk mostly about signaling peptides in this conversation. So as I mentioned, signaling peptides are for collagen, elastin synthesis, hyaluronic synthesis. But you also have enzyme inhibiting peptides, which is melanocyte antagonists. You have neurotransmitter inhibiting peptides. Those are what people like to call the Botox-like peptides, right? And then you have carrier peptides. One of the first ones that I think we've used in skincare, have seen in skincare, is the copper peptide, correct? Tripeptide 1. So these peptides are utilized in different ways, and there's more categories in this, but in skincare, this is classically what we look for. So as I mentioned, we're going to look more at signaling molecules, and these molecules basically penetrate in the skin. They're very small molecules, and they basically target the structural mechanisms of the skin, this collagen, elastin, the structural scaffold that the skin provides. One of the first peptides I'd like to talk about is PeptiLift. And PeptiLift is a product that basically targets the structural mechanisms of cells, right? So as we know, these cells have, one of the main things we know about cells, they have these desmosomes that basically are between cells and kind of link cells together. You have the hemidesmosome at the epidermal junction. This one focuses on a minor joining called a cadherin. These are in adherent junctions, and that's kind of what you're looking. See all these little arms? I want you to focus in on these tiny little arms touching each other here. These are actually junctions, and here's another different type of view of how these cells interact with these junctions. I'm going to zoom in on the next slide and kind of look at some of these junctions. So like pretend this is a giant cell here, and then this is another cell here. And in between this is what's called the ECM, or extracellular matrix. And that's kind of like the in-between between the cells. But even in between, these cells make little connections. And that's what we're really like targeting when we're talking about this. So now I'm going to rotate that view basically. And this is a cell here. And then this is a cell here, okay? You have these little proteins. Remember, I told you DNA codes for proteins and peptides, but you have these proteins called cadherins, and they're little arms that stick out into this extracellular matrix. And the other cell up here has these little arms as well. And the peptides can actually help and modulate this interaction between these cadherins. And when one of these cadherins bind together, more and more join together. These things are constantly being built and broken down within the cell. When more and more join together, they actually create what's called junctional tension. That actually kind of draws the cells tighter. With junctional tension, what's interesting about that is you can have a dramatic lifting effect on the skin over millions of cells. Now, as an individual spacing this junctional tension, it doesn't mean much to us. But when you look at it over 1 million cells, you have a tightening and lifting effect. And that's really what PeptiLift is focusing on, is the tightening and lifting effect in the skin. And, you know, for anti-aging, that's great, but we're really focusing more on sensitive compromised skin, right? What's interesting about that is these cadherins, these cells actually communicate across these linkages too. So if the cells communicate better, they have a healthier environment. You have a stronger community. You actually have healthier skin at the same time. So that's why PeptiLift is nice, because it is also working with the overall health of the skin at the same time while creating a lifting effect. And the peptides that are in PeptiLift are our ProLift peptide. And then we synergize that specific peptide with heptapeptide 8 and hexapeptide 10. And all of these that we'll be talking about are signaling peptides. So I mentioned that during the process of healing that there's a lot of messages that take place, and that's where we look to capture some of the biomimetic peptides or bioactive peptides that we're looking for. And the reason you look there is because when an injury takes place, here, I'll just go through this. Actually, when an injury takes place, you have inflammation that occurs. You have bacteria that go to the area. You have to create a homeostasis, right? So your blood platelets migrate to the area. They provide clotting. The second step, or third step, is basically mast cells produce histamine, right? Histamine is what causes that inflammatory response when we're injured, which is a good thing when we're injured. You know, you have damage and you need to migrate other cells of the immune system, which are called neutrophils, to the area to kind of clean up this before anything takes place. Those then create other messengers called cytokines. We heard about cytokines a little bit during Corona, if you will. The news kind of keyed in on the cytokine storm. Cytokines aren't always bad. Cytokines are messengers, basically, peptide messengers, and proteins as well. In this case, we're looking for cytokine messengers that initiate tissue repair. That's really what we're looking for, is things that initiate repair without a histamine response. So another way of looking at this is it has to go through a phase of homeostasis. Then there's inflammation. That's when I mentioned these mast cells create this histamine. And then there's proliferation. So proliferation is an important part of healing that takes place. That's when those fibroblasts are activated. You know, kind of when if we microneedle, if we have a laser treatment, we're causing damage. It has to go through these phases, but really what we're looking for is number one, proliferation, and number two, which is the most important, is remodeling. Because during proliferation, you can have a bunch of proliferation, but if that collagen is not deposited properly, if those cells aren't put back properly, then you have a scar. So that's a lot of times you'll see a scar form and then a year later that it'll go away. That's the remodeling phase that takes place. So really we're looking for things that cause proliferation and modeling when we're searching for different peptides. And this is a whole symphony that takes place. So I'm trying to break it down as you know, kind of where you can see where peptides interact and those things, but these are overlapping processes. So you have a period of inflammation, proliferation kind of starts while inflammation is subsiding, and then you have the remodeling phase. This remodeling phase can go up to a year. So it's not just 30 days. You see your 1, 5, 10, 15 down here for remodeling phase. So again, we're trying to target this area and stay away from this area because it actually inhibits proliferation. It's basically like, hey, you have a five alarm fire. It's not time to rebuild. Let's put out the fire first. So that's when damage occurs to the skin. You're having this inflammatory time. So the peptide that we focus on with this is peptide repair. And this is our pro repair peptide, but we have synergistic peptides, oligopeptide 5 and acetohexapeptide 51. You'll notice in our serums that there isn't 10 active ingredients. It's really just the key peptides achieving the results. And that's what really shows how powerful and efficacious these individual peptides can be. Again, this is a signaling peptide and we're staying in that area. I know I had other peptides. I showed you the carrier peptides, enzyme modulating peptides. But again, these are all signaling type peptides. So this is a before and after sent in, and this was after Mohs surgery. This was basal cell removal, basically, and this is a year later. Now, this is using peptide repair and rejuvenator, which will be the next product and peptide I talk about. Again, I'm using, and this is under a physician's care as well, and observing these or what's happening. And so, of course, you're not supposed to apply peptides to open wounds, as this is a cosmeceutical. No product should be applied, cosmeceutical products should be applied to open wounds. So I want to make that clear that this is under medical supervision as well. But this is with peptide repair and rejuvenator. Again, repair I just spoke about, but rejuvenator is the next one that we will look at. This is after a year. So you can see, and I forgot how long this was, that scarring took place and you have a remodeling phase that occurs here. So rejuvenator that I just mentioned that was shown in that previous before and after, we have mild, medium, and ultra. For compromised sensitized skin, we're looking more at this mild, so I want to make that clear. We're really talking about mild in this protocol. And what this is it provides all the proper peptides and coenzymes for ATP production. And what this has in it is our pro-rejuvenator peptide synergized with tripeptide 3. Then we have niacinamide, pantothenic acid, which are both key coenzymes that are actually located within the mitochondria that help produce ATP. So we're kind of setting up the cells for success. We're trying to optimize the cells for their own success by providing all these peptides and nutrients right there for it to uptake and utilize. Even down to the oils that we used in this product, the other ones I had mentioned are aqueous-based and water-based products. So they don't have oils located in them, but for instance, we use coconut oil and kind of manipulate that with also stearic acid. And I know a lot of people will say, wait a second, that's comedogenic. I've heard those are comedogenic items. Well, yes, stearic acid at its pure strength can be comedogenic, but specifically stearic acid and palmitic acid, which is in the olive oil, or in the coconut oil, apologize, those are used to build ceramides, which help compromise skin. So those are, you have to have those components. This is really truly food for the cell. You're basically putting everything in place for it to be healthy, for it to function at an optimal level. And really what this focuses on then, if we're talking about that, is cell turnover. We're targeting cell turnover really by providing these nutrients to the skin. So our next peptide product we talk about is actually something we recently incorporated into our product line. And what's unusual about this one is it focused not so much on the peptide, although we have our peptide in this product, but it focused on utilizing the specific molecular weights of hyaluronic acid. We've heard about hyaluronic acid and that it holds 1,000 times its weight in water, and it does. It does support the skin in that way. But there's been a lot of studies that have came out that molecular weight matters. So really what I want to focus on here is this low molecular weight, and the study showing that it activates fibroblasts. They have a medium molecular weight. Now I know 20 is pretty low still, but this is, amniotic fluid is around 200 to 400 kilodaltons. And this, if you can think about amniotic fluid, it obviously supports proliferation, but it's been shown also in wound healing. One of the key components to provide a pathway for fibroblasts to migrate upon. So fibroblasts lay down medium molecular weight hyaluronic acid to move from point A to point B to get to the point that they are needed to then proliferate. And then above 500, which would be considered high molecular weight, that's calming, anti-angiogenic, and these are all shown in different research out there, and immunosuppressant. So, where would anti-angiogenic, what does that even mean? So angiogenic means the formation of capillaries or blood vessels, like more capillaries, but formation of those items. Well, rosacea is a good point of attack for that issue. It's one of the causes of the redness that is occurring in rosacea. And then immunosuppressant, well, psoriasis is a good application for possibly high molecular weight hyaluronic acid. So you can target two different things here with medium molecular weight and high molecular weight. And then fibroblast activation, well, that's really good for anti-aging. So you're activating fibroblasts, you're providing a pathway for them to get to where they need to go. And then you also have a method by which to calm and soothe the skin. So that's really what we saw in the research and pulled out from this. And, in vitro studies showed some of the same. So proliferatory effects of medium molecular weight. This is showing the actual hyaluronic acid being increased in the skin. You can see that if you had compromised skin, your different levels, your epidermis, and everything is supported down from this dermis. And then also, it is the high molecular weight that I mentioned is soothing and calming. So it showed in vitro testing a inhibition of TNF alpha in interleukins 1 and 6. And these are both inflammatory. All of three of them are inflammatory markers that actually cause inflammation. So you can see this in the testing of reduction of this inflammation. This is all different research on these specific molecular weights. So I like to show this for high molecular weight. This is a 300 magnification, and this is a 10,000 magnification. And high molecular weight is a lot of times, it's not just a moisturizer and the fact that it will sit on the surface and actually provide a protective barrier as well. And it's a breathable barrier. So it's really nice if you have compromised skin to have an extra layer of protection. Now, this is a micro layer of protection. It's not going to stop the sun or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But you can see that it is a three-dimensional structure laying on top of the skin. And again, these have applications: rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, for inflamed acne, for calming and soothing, and especially post-procedure for anything that might cause inflammation during any procedures that you offer. So we took all this research and we created 3 specific molecular weights. Now it's important because the kilodalton weight on these, this is low molecular weight, right? 5 kilodalton. This is 200 and 400 kilodalton, which is the same exact sizes basically that you'll find in amniotic fluid, and then high molecular weight hyaluronic acid. Now, I want to say this hyaluronic acid is synthesized from a bacteria, actually. And when I mentioned this earlier, that it kind of deviated from our core and our premise, is that hyaluronic acid is not a peptide itself. Hyaluronic acid is a polysaccharide. So we are using other small molecule chemicals, basically, small molecules to create responses within cells. So hyaluronic acid is used from cell to cell communication. And that's why we're utilizing them in specific molecular weights, because if you just have a slurry of hyaluronic acid, you're not going to get the precise message across that you're looking for. But it will support, hyaluronic acid, as we know, supports the skin and creates that moisturization that we're looking for. But we're trying to use this as a efficacious result-oriented treatment product. That's why we divided these up in these specific molecular weights. So focusing on medium molecular weight hyaluronic acid, sodium hyaluronate, this specific designator for this hyaluronic, is 200 to 400 kilodaltons. We have the prohyaluronin peptide. We have palmitoyl SH hexapeptide 13, acetylglucosamine, which hyaluronic acid is made up of acetylglucosamine and glucuronic acid. So basically, we're putting a building block, or precursor, if you will, of hyaluronic acid right there for your cells to use as well. So if it needs to synthesize its own hyaluronic acid, these building blocks are sitting there waiting for the cells to utilize. And then prolyl hydroxyproline, and then sodium polyglutamate. Polyglutamate actually holds 5,000 times its weight in water. So it's actually more efficient at delivering hydration than hyaluronic acid itself. Sodium polyglutamate has been shown in studies to actually target hyaluronidase, and hyaluronidase actually cuts up hyaluronic acid. So it's kind of like a protectant of hyaluronic acid, if you will, but that's been shown in research. So looking at the high molecular weight hyaluronic, the only difference between these low, medium, and high is going to be the sodium hyaluronate that's used. So this is high molecular weight here. So this is a before and after of a client with sensitive skin. And you can see a little bit of inflammation here from the before and after. And this is using specifically the Pepti Nano Mask is the next item I'd want to talk about. And Pepti Nano Mask isn't a peptide itself. It's a biocellulose mask. And that biocellulose mask actually has microfibrils that utilize a nanotechnology, basically. And that nanotechnology is actually a natural nanotechnology to bacteria. So this bacteria, these masks are individually grown. Masks that are made of biocellulose are classically not individually grown. They grow them off of the bacteria. They then go through certain procedures to kind of cut them up and make it easier for them to form into a mold or into a mask. But it destroys this actual nano network that the bacteria naturally creates. So what happens is there'd be a bacteria down here, and that bacteria starts growing this fibrous network. And as it grows forward, it becomes thicker and thicker at the surface. So it also produces a natural gradient that pushes actives into the skin along with these nanofibrils that lay directly onto the skin to basically bind better over the surface area of the cells. So that's why this is helping with the soothing and calming of skin. And also any active that you're applying to the skin as well. And I use that cautiously. I say any active. You obviously wouldn't want to use a chemical peel under this or anything like that. I'm not saying those type of actives that you would place this over. So I'm getting a look that I'm going over time. So I want to give a quote to you guys that I received from a client, actually from a professional, from their client specifically. And this was using Pepti Repair that we had talked about and Pepti Clear. I'm going to have to move this box. I don't know. Hopefully this doesn't go over the slide when I do this. So I'm going to read this out loud. Using Viktoria DN's products for the past 2 years has helped replenish my skin from intense and painful blemishes. Their Pepti Repair and Pepti Clear serums helped my skin and keep the breakouts at bay. Hale Hush's Quiet Wash and Hush Hydrate Gel keep my sensitive skin clean and moisturized, and their rare retinol serum helped clear the harsh redness that resulted from my breakouts. Thanks to Erin and the routine she built for me with these products, I've noticed that my face is clear and looks healthier than it's ever been. I feel more confident in my own skin and could not be more grateful. And I love receiving things. This is really why we're in this industry. We received this without knowing that we were going to coordinate anything with Hale Hush. And someone in our marketing team said, hey, we have this before and after, and the actual testimonial. And I said, well, this is amazing. But to me, what's more amazing is the professional here. She thanks her professional, which was Erin. She says how great and how much more confident she feels. And just to be part of that, to just be the product line that's helping that, along with what the skincare professional is doing, is changing the life of this young lady. And she said she's more confident. She has those things that she now feels more confident in public. And I don't think, helping change someone's life is really what makes us magnetic to this industry. It drives us in this industry. It's not about the money that we're making, because if you chase skincare because of the money, I'm sorry, you might be disappointed without having this feeling, because you will not have the drive to keep on without having clients and professionals tell you how that it's changing their lives. So that's what's really wonderful about this. So we offer peptides in that target all sorts of different skin concerns. Obviously, I can't go into all that now. Shauna would definitely cut me off here in a minute, I feel. I've definitely gone over my time, but we are offering everything that we spoke about today. We're offering 10% off. That's a QR code that will lead you to registration on our website. And we only sell to professionals. So you will have to enter your license number and it'll be approved. And that could take up to 24 hours for approval, but use code HH525 for 10% off any of the products that I spoke about, any of the peptides that we spoke about during this presentation.
Thank you, Mark.
Hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much.
Oh, I don't think so. I think they're all very much engaged, right? Okay, guys, so obviously Viktoria DN has many products. He only went over the products today that are in our protocol. Mark, can you please stop sharing your screen for a minute?
Certainly.
Thank you. So there's a lot of questions. Let's get to a few of them first. Sophia, I saw you ask a lot of questions in the chat instead of putting them in the question box. So I tried to scribble those down. If we can do that, I do have a very short slide deck, you guys know, but I knew the smart scientist was going to go over. So mine is very small, but I know you guys want to hear more from him than me because you guys get really bored with me. So both of us just went over what's in the protocol today. There's many more products. I just got another question, like how many products do I personally use? I don't know if I wanted to admit this. Just Viktoria DN, or do we want to count Hale Hush too? How do we want to go over Shauna's protocol, right? I think right now, because I told Mark that I was going to give it a Girl Scout try and use all the products to see if I could see change. And I use 8 of his products in the morning and night. And then some of our products too. Yeah, someone just asked me how many do I need to buy. I'm like, oh, just go register and use your discount today. You'll be fine. It's just money. Shirley only uses 4. I never outdo Shirley, so here we are. Okay, so let me go to my slide deck. Oh, let's check the questions, Mark. Hold on.
Okay.
Are the peptides free of wheat and gluten?
Yes.
There you go. Okay, this is a good one. I understand the rejuvenators will cause the skin to react and have slight flushing, burning, we'll say tingling sensation. However, some of my clients react to the repair the same way. I have one client who reacted to the repair and then the berry boost, which is our mask mark. So I summarize she was sensitive to berries. What else could be in the repair that would make it tingly?
With repair, it's that can be a sensitivity to one of the peptides. Again, there's 3 different ones in there. So there can be sensitivities to peptides. Classically, I would say it's about 1 to 2% of the population out there. And there is a few other ingredients. There's a xanthan gum that you should look at. There is glycerin as well. And I like that she was a sleuth in this and tried to determine what it was, like what's actually causing this, because I use a mixture of different products. So rejuvenator sometimes can be your culprit just because of the niacinamide. So if your client's taking other niacinamide supplements, for instance, they can actually initiate a niacinamide flush, if you will. We've heard about that if we take too much niacinamide orally. But using those in combination, and then also different prescriptions can cause these issues as well. Your skin changes during those different prescriptions and creates sensitivities at the same time. Now, they are natural to these to cells and skin themselves, but each biological system is a little bit different. So each one of us is different, right?
Yes. Okay. Can these products be used in microneedling? There's more than one question on that.
Yeah, it's broad in the sense that the definition of microneedling from each different professional changes as we talk about that. So that has to be used by the professional's best judgment of whether they're causing open wounds or not, the depth they're going, and the location on the skin unto itself.
Okay, Sophia, I'm gonna you have a couple in here. So Sophia, can your products be used on medically reactive clients, those undergoing chemo and radiation? So Sophia is oncology certified like our team. So I would think some of them.
They can, but whenever you're dealing with a patient, you would always consult the physician at the same time with the ingredients that you're applying to the skin. Like that's, if they're going through any medical procedure, that is your 100% go-to. I would make sure that the physician looks at the ingredients as well, and you share that with them. You can get that from the MSDS sheet. They don't have to take the product there themselves. You can email the MSDS sheet to that physician. So I would definitely check with them. As far as it having any contraindications unto itself, these peptides are natural to the skin itself. So what you got to be worried about is different sensitivities, changes in the skin that occur during these procedures.
And reactions to medication. Don't forget that, Sophia. It's a big one. If you want to email me, Sophia, we can go over if you'd like my grand opinion on those. Mark, can the products be used on keloids or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation?
Yes, definitely. We actually PeptiCorrect HP is one of those enzyme modulating that I mentioned. I didn't even get to go into any of those things. And it all depends on the peptides that you're selecting, right? Like you wouldn't want more Procol and necessarily a keloid. So you would select the proper products that's associated with the skin concern. And there's, we're building education for the specific purpose. So you're going to know more in depth all of these different skin concerns and what to target.
All right. Can your products be used on teenagers, especially the Pepti Clear acne, right?
They can. With teenagers, a lot of their systems are functioning optimally. And you would use peptides that are more targeted for them, like say for Pepti Clear, for any blemish-prone skin, those type of things, calming and soothing. For instance, Pepti Lift might not have the best result for a teenager. You're not targeting anti-aging in that concern. So again, it depends on the skin concern you're addressing, but yes.
Okay. There's so many here. Wow. Okay. Can you use the, I assume, Patricia, you mean lift and tone under the red light?
100%, yes. What's nice about red light is it's it's been shown in research to activate metabolism of the cells. It's adding energy into the system. It's kind of the same concept, not exactly. Obviously, you're using different things. That rejuvenator providing all the proper things for metabolism to the cells. So if you have healthy cells coming to the surface, excited cells, they're going to respond better to these other peptide messengers.
Okay. Morgan, can you please put his code in the chat? They're asking for that code again. Thank you. Janice is going to open a can of worms on this one. This one I think is so important, but how do you layer or use multiple Viktoria DM peptides, and can they be mixed into masks?
So 100% you can layer. The layering process is to apply and wait 1 to 2 minutes, basically. That's so you get full concentration going to the cells one at a time. We do have professionals that mix peptides together and apply them. Maybe they're in a hurry that day, not during treatment, obviously, but at home, we do have some professionals that like, hey, I don't want to tell you this, but I mix these together. Really what happens in that is that you're not getting 100% of the concentration hitting the cells at the same time. You still get results, yes. So you can do it. It's not going to hurt you, but you lose out, maybe say, let's 15% of the efficacy at that point in time. In regards to mixing it into masks, that's a complex one because it depends on what type of mask you're talking about. But my initial reaction to that is going to say no, because most of the masks you mix them into are going to either deteriorate the peptide because they're really fragile molecules themselves, and or block the skin from recepting or receiving them. It'll be stuck within the mask matrix, if you will, and won't go down into the cells, go through the stratum corneum, the epidermis, or target dermis, or any of those things that you're trying to do to get those peptides to the destination.
I agree with that one. As far as you guys, I got a little talk because I'm like, no, really, come on, layering, I have to wait. I'm too big of a hurry. So I got a little talk about the efficacy. If I could just slow down a second and wait for it to penetrate would be much better for me. So scolded by the scientist. Also, you guys know I'm also an overuser. So been overusing the peptides too. Careful on your amounts that you use. Okay, Mark, here's a good one. A protocol for crepey skin in the neck skin, jowls, and eyelids.
Okay, so I'm going to target that in different ways because we have neck, jowls, and eyelids, and those are a little bit different unto themselves. But for the neck, décolleté, lift, obviously the one I showed you, right? The signaling product lift for skin tightening, appearance of tightness of the neck. Décolleté, lift and rejuvenator are key peptides there. So it's going to target the health of the skin. Procol as well. So you have lift, Procol, rejuvenator, and the last one would be Viopure. So that would kind of be your 4 key products targeting neck and décolleté. When you're targeting more of the eyes and skin around the eyes, orbital area, right? I would incorporate eye serum into that. It's perfect for that.
I think we kind of robbed them a little bit today too, Mark, because we didn't get to talk about all of your products. So they're asking questions that include the ones we didn't talk about.
Yes.
You guys can go open an account, register for Viktoria DM, and they do have some free education on there that you could listen to help you understand the peptides on the differences between the product a little bit. So we're sorry. We could have had Mark on here for 4 hours. He's a little busy because we're all trying to get out of town. So I apologize that you guys didn't get the full education of all the peptides. It is 10 o'clock. There's a ton more questions in there, Mark, like a lot. So okay. I don't know if you have time to hang on. I was just going to run through what I have real quick, and then we have to give the prizes away. Morgan's timing me out. I'm done.
Do the giveaways first. Someone said they have other things to run off to. So can I...
Okay, guys, let's get back. Giveaway. Who wants to hear me talk? Nobody.
No one.
No one. Okay. Yeah. Thought this might happen. Okay, everyone's in a spinner. You want to give away, Mark, why don't you tell them what you're going to give away? Do you?
So we're giving away the Pepti Nano Mask Packs that contains 6 different individual masks, and then also medium and high molecular weight hyaluronic acid.
Yeah. So that's exciting, you guys. Are you ready? We'll do it one by one. And then what Viktoria Deanne doesn't have that Hale and Hush really fills in the gap is obviously our incredible enzymes. So we're going to give away 2 of those so you can complete the protocol in your treatment room. If I have a few minutes, I'll go over the protocol in more detail, but let's see. Okay, Morgan, give away a nano mask pack. Let's do this. And if you win, you have to email education@haleandhush.Janie.
You're gonna have to. You have to redo that spin. Sorry,
She can't
Janie.
win.
She can't win. You're banned from winning.
Oh, she
Janie
can't?
can't win. No, she cannot win. I should have told you all of the Viktoria Deanne people in here too.
Sorry, guys.
And hey, Chuck's out too if he
I did
wins.
put shot. Fair game. Selena?
Okay, Selena, are you still in here? Please answer in the chat.
I can't see the chat, so let me know.
Viktoria Deanne will not be at the Vegas show. They'll be in Dallas, Long Beach, and West Palm. Right, Mark?
That is correct. Wow.
Was Selena in here?
We need it. Oh, Selena's here.
Okay. Jessica.
Is it Jessica? Oh man, Jessica, you get some nanomass. Already has a ton. It's fine. Look at you, Mark. It's funny. Okay, let's do the medium weight hyaluronic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're getting lucky, girl. Sylvia's in here. Jessica's in here. Okay. And the high weight, the high molecular weight hyaluronic acid. Ooh, I'm going to spell this way wrong. How do you say that, Morgan? Tia? Oh, she won. Yes, you won. Sorry. Say your name. I wish they could talk because I need to know how to say her name. Okay, everyone.
Are we doing the...
Yeah, you won, Tia. Thank you, girl. Got you. That makes it better. Please email education. Morgan, you got that little typey type?
Are we doing the words?
She was new. I was just letting her know.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Look at me just rushing ahead.
Blah, blah. Okay.
In your moment. I'm so sorry.
I know. I was just talking. Okay, incredible enzymes. Who wants a new enzymes? Let's do it. Maybe we'll get a Viktoria Deanne person. They can try them. Are you in here? Uh-oh. Oh, she raised her hand. She's here.
Perfect.
Okay.
Last one.
Oh, so fun to give prizes, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, it is.
Sonia! Sonia, are you in here? Doo-doo-doo.
Hi, Sonia.
Yeah, she raised her hand too.
Hey.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so let's run through what I got really fast. Are you
giving
gonna
us
give snacks though? I like that girl. Whoever that likes you. Let's do it. A snack giveaway. Okay. First of all, you know, Mark didn't want me to do this, but I think we should take a poll today.
What's happening here?
Poll to see, and we don't have to take a real poll, just write in the chat if there's people out there that agree with me and already use the 2 products together. If you use both of us together, can you put it in the chat? I want to see how many people they're really doing it already.
3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh,
Beautiful.
I like that Stephanie said, duh.
Duh. Okay, awesome. Yes, Pam. Ginny, you guys don't even count here. We need some other people. Okay, it's pretty exciting. All right, I'm going to run through my slide deck like in 5 minutes. First of all, most of you on here have heard about it already, so it's not very exciting. Second of all, you'd rather listen to the scientist, I know. All right. Let's do it. You guys know sensitive skin is our specialty. That's why we are talking about sensitive skin today. With the peptides, I think they go hand in hand in repairing barrier and just general health of the skin. Well, you guys know we do collaborations. I think it's very important for estheticians to know how to use their products together in the treatment room, how to retail them together, and just create treatments and, of course, increase your retail sales. So the importance of collaborating with different companies, it expands your knowledge, your education. It gives you more resources to use to educate and teach your own clients. It allows you to adapt a hierarchy of treatments and protocols that you can use for different services in your treatment room. It gives your clients more choices as far as treatments and retail, and it's more effective. You get better results on bringing in other lines that, first of all, help your clients, but second of all, are really effective. And I'm sorry, but we're all here to make a little money. So it's going to raise the bottom line and make it financially viable for you. And having better choices always gives the client a better experience in your spa. So, and what we want to do with our clients, obviously, we want those loyal clients to create loyalty and trust and education. So that's why you guys know I always harp on choosing modalities and other treatment lines with that education that can bring all your services to a higher level. And as you guys can see today, the science behind Viktoria Deanne is incredible. And I really think it could pump up your treatments in the treatment room. This is the protocol that we created. This is just the first page. This one was so long that it's like small writing. So everybody get your glasses out and your magnifying glasses so we can get this to you. But it's rejuvenate and restore. And I believe that's what we do at Hale Hush, restore and rejuvenate the skin. And so do they do the same at Viktoria Deanne. So I know we like to use all these R words in our menus and our treatments, but it really fit the bill on this one. As you can see in the protocol, I have added both companies' cleansers and both companies' moisturizers because you can interchange those with any protocol. Remember, we always talk about adaptive protocols and adapting for what you have in your treatment room and adapting to what your clients need. So just remember, when it's an and or, you can use anything you already have. He didn't even talk about any of the other products that he had, but they have 2 cleansers and moisturizers, and then the other line has the moisturizers also, right, Mark? So it's like 4 moisturizers?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, okay. The benefits of this treatment are big. I love this. I think this is more for aging skin or those with slightly compromised barrier. I'm not going to go over it word for word, but a lot of collagen elastin building, a lot of cell turnover, hydration, repairing the skin, all the words you're looking for. You can really create an entire menu piece just with the benefits of this treatment. These are all the protocols, so products, excuse me, used. So as you can see, there's Quiet Wash. Guess what? You guys can swap that out with the new Clarify Wash if you'd like. Viktoria Deanne has 2 washes. I put Purifying Cleanser in this protocol because I like it better, but there's also a Balancing Cleanser. They have 2. Of course, I put our enzymes. You guys know they're my favorite. Here's all the products from Viktoria Deanne. And then I added both masks because I think the layering of the masks are pretty incredible together. Ours is full of antioxidants and hydration. And then once you get that off the skin, to put that nano mask down is absolutely incredible. If you do not believe me, go try it. I did it last night. Look at that. Okay. You guys have to try it. It's amazing. Don't hesitate. So here again is your option of moisturizer. And of course, we have sunscreen. We'll use our broad spectrum, and then we'll put a little shine on the end, and we'll use Brilliant Iron Lip as the lip treatment. Okay, we know what Quiet Wash is. I'm going to go through Clarify Wash because she's the new girl on the block right now. I hope you guys all ordered it. They are scrambling at the office trying to get these orders out this week. So let's just talk about it a minute. Sorry, I know it's after time, but this is so exciting. So Clarify Wash is a non-drying gel cleanser, right, that uses mandelic acid. There's only 3% mandelic in here. Excuse me, there is the 3-O ethyl ascorbic acid in here too. So I wouldn't, Tatiana's on here that said she had a little burning when she ground it into her eyes. Tatiana, first of all, you're sensitive anyway, and why did you do that? Second of all, keep the acids away from your eyeballs. Okay. I love calling out my team in the middle of a talk. It's so fun. But it really helps. So what's cool in this is licorice root, but not just the licorice root that you know for brightening and lightening, but also a blend that Chris and you guys know our chemist Vents created. And the type of licorice root used in here also helps control sebum. So this cleanser was obviously created for acne and oily skin. However, as we tested it, we realized it doesn't matter. Anybody can use it, even for dry skin, because I really liked the feel of it. Mark, do you have some of the new wash?
I didn't want to jump in here, but so
Rude.
I have the Quiet Wash in my shower for after I play beach volleyball. For some reason, the sand they use there irritates my skin. And so I utilize the Quiet Wash after volleyball games and tournaments. I'm playing with 25-year-olds that I shouldn't be. I'm going to hurt myself. But anyways, love the Quiet Wash. So yes, I'm going to get online and purchase this, Shauna.
Okay, you don't have to. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm sure Chris Campbell will bring you some. But anyway, love the Quiet Wash. Else in the protocol is our enzymes. You guys know that. I'm speeding through. Berry Boost mask, full of antioxidants. I love this mask right before the nano mask. Sunscreen, Brilliant Eye. There's your educational webinars for next month. It's with Face Reality. So we're going to target acne during acne month. And then July, you have 2. It is our anniversary. You will have your Team Awesome on here and present. And then also Millicent Russo to talk about modalities. So let me stop share. Whew, I had to talk fast, Mark. Woo! My face felt tingling, not my eyes. Then don't. Go back to Quiet Wash, Tatiana. Okay, so more questions. You guys could jump off if you need to go. Thank you, Tina. But otherwise, I'm going to have Mark answer. Do you have time, Mark, to answer some of these? You're muted.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and attending. And I do have time.
Okay. All right. Let's see. There's a lot. Let me go through some of these.
Okay.
Would the peptide products be good for someone with scarring left from excessive acne?
Yeah, so Rejuvenator, again, is a key one for that because you have cells coming to the surface at the proper rate. Repair would be also the other peptide you would target for basically Repair and Rejuvenator together. If you recall that Mohs surgery, that's what's basically targeting that remodeling phase. That's what you're looking for when you're talking about defects in the skin like scarring or improper collagen placement.
Okay. Sorry, Mark. I was writing something down too.
Right.
Okay. So Madeline wants to go back to the sensitivity with the niacin and the Rejuvenator. So is it counterproductive to use on rosacea sensitive skin?
So in excess, it can be counterproductive, right? Like, so that's why we want to start with mild with this type of skin. With an ultra or medium, even possibly, depending on how sensitive that skin is, it could be counterproductive because with niacin, you can have a histamine response, which is why we have Rejuvenator divided into 3 different strengths. So always start with the mild.
Also, Mark, so because we deal with sensitive skin all the time, so
Yep.
some of our serums also irritate. Even Soothe Essence, who's supposed to be our most gentle barrier building serum, are you able with the Rejuvenator to stair step? Like, can you have someone use it every 3 days, then every 2 days?
Certainly. So for very sensitive skin, they would start out, say, once, exactly like you're saying, once every 2 to 3 days. Especially if you just provided a treatment on that customer, then the skin's going to be even more sensitive and reactive. Maybe you even wait a day, 2 or 3 after the treatment to even apply Rejuvenator in that case.
Okay, that works. I would think that's what you would have to do with rosacea, because you guys, I had a problem with niacinamide, so I could not use the Rejuvenator at first. Disappointed the scientist here.
Yep.
He was highly not happy with me. So I tried it and I just stair stepped it, and I'm already past the mild to the medium, and it's been what? Maybe 45 days? I don't know, month and a half. Obviously, I'm an overuser, so I used too much of that first bottle. That's supposed to last you 4 to 6 weeks, and guess what? I was probably out in 3.5. But that's okay. Everyone makes money that way, right? Laughing at me. Okay,
Yeah.
Maxine, we use modalities along with Viktoria DM products to achieve quicker results. Absolutely, Maxine. Yes. Absolutely. Microcurrent is a big one. I think radio frequency, ultrasound, any infusion devices, LED. What am I doing? Did I miss any, Mark?
Galvanic, you can even use it with.
Okay. All right. Oof. And Alejandra wants to know, can you use the products all over? Like if you had pigmentation on your knees, elbows, underarms, inner thigh. I know what you missed there. I see what you're saying, Alejandra. Yes, right? You can?
Yep. Applies to all epithelial cells, again, skin cells. So yes. Your only problem lies in the surface area that you're treating at that point. Larger surface areas are going to require more product.
Yes, it is. Don't worry. Keeps you in business, Mark. And yes, I think you can, I know that Mark does not want to talk about this, but I think there's a lot of PIE and PIH in the intimate regions when we're doing hair removal. Jarrett's on here too. Me and Jarrett already talked about this. Yes, you can use Repair Rejuvenator where you're supposed to, on the top of the vagina where you're doing your vajacial treatments. Please don't drip that Rejuvenator in there. Woo woo, I'd be spicy. But yes, you can. And Jarrett, I think, has put it in a protocol, and I've used it for underarms. I used Repair on my niece here who had an ingrown hair in her underarm. So yes, I know where you were going with that, Alejandra, and you can use it. Yes. Okay. Can you use your cellulose mask under red light?
Yes. Yeah. So it's the thinnest mask on the market as far as the thickness of it goes, but most effective. So light does penetrate the mask, but with anything you apply to the skin, you lose a little bit of the intensity. So you will lose a little bit of intensity. We've been communicating with different LED manufacturers. And there will be a slight loss of intensity, but it's still effective. And the cumulative benefit of both of them together, the synergistic effect, way outweighs using them singularly.
How long should we wait between peptides? Mark said what, 45 seconds, a minute?
Yeah, so approximately 1 to 2 minutes. It's not a precise, you have to sit there with a timer. You just want the cells to receive the messages at full concentration, one, then the next.
Okay, and they have an entire layering guide. If you guys are interested in using the product, make sure you're going to ask for that layering guide so you understand how to layer in reference to molecular size and how it's going to penetrate into skin. So make sure you get that. I know a lot of companies, even ourselves, I like layers. I'm a purist. Like I wouldn't put the things in the mask. I don't like that. But I know a lot of our clients like to cocktail things. Just realize that that is not how Viktoria DM suggests to do their application. So it's just a different take, but they have a cool little chart. I had to screenshot it. and I had to put it in my favorites in my phone so I won't forget my 8 steps. Okay. Are peptides tingly at all?
They are. They are. Each peptide's different. Each peptide has a unique, even fragrance to it, if you will, because they are a portion of a protein. So some can be tingly, some are not at all.
Kristen Herman, they have a protocol with an infusion device. Why don't you get a hold of Pam at MedSpa or Stephanie or Andrea, whoever, but Kristen's one of our educators and they have a protocol, girl. Yes, that will help you with that. If not, I will make you one in 5 minutes. Okay, love ya. Okay, Nicole, if we do this again, you want him to go dive deeper, Nicole? I would too. You're highly requested to come back, mister.
Oh,
okay.
I appreciate it. That's definitely a compliment. Thank
yes,
you.
good. Yes, you can use lift and tone under red light. I think we already got that one. Jeannie, Morgan, can you please put my email in the chat for Jeannie? How do we get our prize? Megan, can you please call the office if you would like our shirts and aprons? I think they have few, but you have to call. Sorry, Mark.
It's all right.
Okay, and Olga, this is a good one, Mark. She wants to know the products that you have. I assume it's you. She didn't say us or you, but I assume it's you. That target melasma and hyperpigmentation. I think you answered that. Can you just quickly do that one more time?
Yeah, so Correct HP, Pepti Correct HP is the product that targets those melanocytes. So that's the product you're looking for.
Jarrett. All right, Mark, this might take both of us.
Okay.
In my regular home care, because Jarrett is a fan of us and you, where am I putting my Rare Mandelic and Rare C if I'm using the Lift Kit?
Okay.
Where would you suggest other serums, Mark?
So other serums classically we suggest towards the end because most are not true aqueous bases. And then you can also the general rule of thumb, thinnest to thickest, right?
He means water-based. Water-based.
Oh, sorry. Yes, water-based. Yes. So so yes. And then you can also generally determine this by a thinnest to thickest category as well, if you will. So there's 2 different ways you can kind of judge if it's an aqueous base.
Water-based.
Water-based.
Okay, Jarrett, this is what I would do. Jarrett, this is what I would do. Do all of your peptides so all of that signaling happens properly, right? Wait, be a good girl and wait your 1-2 minutes in between. Do not Shauna Roach it. And then I would use Mandelic and then the C on top of that and then your moisturizer. So I would use our serums at the end of the peptides. Okay? But make sure you're using your Pepti eye, the rejuvenator, and then the 2 serums. That's what I would do. Okay. Woo, okay. Ugh. This is a big one. Okay. Maxine, what is the most effective intense treatment protocol to see results after the first professional facial treatment? It's any of the protocols. Like if you use Viktoria Deanne protocols or you use our protocols, you will see results no matter what after that first professional treatment. If you do this protocol I did that we put together with Mark, I guarantee you will see that immediately. The results were astounding. So I would give that a spin or give one of their restorative protocols a spin. I think that's what we kind of spun this off of. So that's what I would do. She wants to, yeah, our clients want to see it right away. Maxine, that's what I would do for sure. You're going to be blown away. Just try it. Okay. Amanda wants to know, are Hale Hush? Okay, I'm going to answer that later, Amanda. Okay, Sophia wants to know, are the peptides lab synthesized or bioengineered from natural sequences?
Okay, so that's a good question. And so they are lab synthesized, but they are from natural amino acids and they are characterized in research from the natural sequences that cells use in the different processes that take place. So basically, we take pharmaceutical grade amino acids, and then we compose them into the exact same language, which is the peptide, in a lab. So that most of, and then our next question that we usually get from that is, well, where do the amino acids come from then? And most amino acids nowadays are formed from a fermentation process. They're harvesting them basically from bacteria and then purifying them to a 99.9 USP grade material. Then you take those individual amino acids and synthesize them, join them together to make them.
Awesome. Sophia, let me go to your other questions too. We answered keloids. Mark, they would like those, they'd like some papers or some more in-depth information about the hyaluronic acids. Do you have that available somewhere?
I do. We can send them some of those studies that they can look. I mean, there is literally hundreds of studies now, though, over the past few years that have came out in regards to this.
Sophia, I have your email, but can you right now message me only with your email, and I'll get that to Mark?
Please. Yep. I'll send it along.
Okay. And then I think we saw this in your slides. I think this was asked before your slides came up with the Mohs surgery. What type of injury take a year to heal like that? And so it's something dramatic like Mohs surgery.
Yes. Yes. Well, and scarring is, that is one of the most difficult, because a lot of times, and especially how long the scar has existed, like the older the scar, the harder it is to go back into a remodeling phase, because your cells and skin start to accept that that is commonplace and I don't need to remodel that anymore. It's fixed. I can ignore it. Let's go about our daily business. Homeostasis, we are good with that being there. So it's trying to reignite those fibroblasts to go into that proliferative remodeling phase. That's the difficult part.
All right. Last one. Rejuvenators have B something in it. It's niacinamide. They would like you to describe what that does.
Okay, so niacinamide is a key component basically in what's called the Krebs cycle, which occurs within the mitochondria. And it is the key component that basically helps form ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which is quote unquote the powerhouse of the cell. All energy that you get, I love eating cookies. Those cookies turn into ATP and then they're stored on my stomach, right? So everything that we do turns into ATP, basically. Everything that we consume turns into ATP through this process.
Jarrett is jumping off to pack the truck for Dallas. Jarrett, we just want you to know that Mark and I haven't even started packing for Dallas. So good job.
I'm jealous. I'm the only person not going to Dallas.
I don't know. Maybe people on here are coming to Dallas too. Make sure you come to both our booths if you guys are coming. Yeah. All right. Mark, anything for broken capillaries?
For broken capillaries, Rejuvenator and Repair. I mean, those are kind of your go-to for any reparative items. I mean, any reparative skin conditions or protocols you're looking for. Those are your two. I keep saying Rejuvenator's ATP, but like restoring homeostasis and then the Repair serum as well. And those are actually used in the other way. Repair would be first and then Rejuvenator thereafter. Remember, Repair is a cream base, so it goes on towards the end of that treatment phase.
Okay. And Mark, people are just wanting a full class with you. They can't stop asking.
Well, we will have some live education in the near future on our website. It's coming soon, right?
Yes.
So there will be live education, and then also some more in-depth education on our website that will not be live, which will enable you to watch it online.
Yes. Okay, it's so fun. So Jeannie is going to Dallas. Jeannie, we expect you to come and say hi to us in both of our booths.
Yes, definitely, Jeannie.
And last question, and it's like, how did your family get into studying peptides?
So it started with my father. And actually the name Viktoria Deanne My father's name is Dean. My last name is Viktora. And Anne was my grandmother's name, which was a soap maker. So European soap maker, if you will. So it's like a combination of a family-owned business that my father actually got into peptides because he was looking at people in retirement homes and communities in which they were stuck in wheelchairs. And he was focusing on growth hormone to restore their lean muscle mass. So growth hormone will automatically help restore that lean muscle mass automatically on people because as you age, once you hit, say, 35, it just starts falling off a cliff. But what doesn't, right? So if you can rebalance that system and get growth hormone to an optimal level through the use of peptides, they would then have reestablished a lean muscle mass and be able to walk a little longer or function a little better. That is what started the whole process. There's other things that helped, required us to dive deeper. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, and it's involved research of cancer, seeking peptides and different things as that. So it's really out of necessity, and that's what's instilled in what I do from my father. That it's about helping other people and getting the joy out of that. When I was younger, I was chasing money, but it's really awesome to see that you actually helped change someone's life. And that's really what he has instilled in me.
I think we should end on that one. That was good. Okay, so no, I think that was like the most questions we've ever had.
Oh, wow. Maybe I was because I didn't explain it or too much science.
Yeah. Well, for a second, I was like, am I ever going to talk today? No. Okay. It is. It's a great company, you guys. You guys know I always stand behind companies that I really that I love and that I trust. So I hope you guys, our clients, can go on there and learn some more about Viktoria Deanne. Jeannie, you're going to Dallas. We have a class on the first day at 11. Mark has a class both days at 2. So if you're going, there you go. Oh, Mark, they said you were captivating.
Oh, excellent.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Was I even on here? No. Nope. Discounted.
I ran over time. I saw it.
I said a big time. This is like the longest webinar we've had. It's fine. They liked it. They loved it. All right, you guys, we're going to sign off. Mark, thank you so much. Thank you for giving away your little gifts. Do you guys have the code? Can we see the code, Morgan, one more time for them?
I want to thank you, Shauna, and Hale Hush for having me on here.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
We can't leave the scientist out. My favorite scientist. Okay. Everybody's good. No more questions. No more questions in the box. It was an amazing webinar. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
Hi. See you in here. Sophia, I'll get your email to you. Okay, girl. I got you. Jeannie, we'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Cecilia loves peptides. It's an excellent product.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was fun. Remember these webinars?
You guys are awesome.
It's supposed to be light and fun. So that's what we did today with a little bit of science added in. They loved it. Okay. Excellent. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you next month for the free educational webinar in June. Bye. Bye, Mark.
Thank you, everyone. Bye, Shauna.
Bye.